Yeah, welcome back to DXB today. Hope you're enjoying the show thus far. Might be tickling the old taste buds just a little bit at the moment and encouraging you to get out and support homegrown. They don't get much more homegrown than our next guest. Joining us now is a Dubai-born chef with a deep connection to this city's multicultural foodie scene. Solomon Haddan from Moonrise. Chef, absolute pleasure to have you back here on the show. Look, tough times, I know, for not just you, but the entire industry, but some inspiring stories out there. Before we get on to the industry as a whole, let's talk about you for a bit, if we can, because take us back to the beginning of the year, mid-February. Moonrise is taking future bookings for months in advance. You are the darling of the award ceremonies. You're getting rave reviews. Then things change. Where is Moonrise now?
I mean, now we're doing burgers.
Yep.
And I think that if you told me like 2 months ago that we'd be doing this, I think it would be the most no way ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. And I think that, we just ended up finding ourselves in a situation.
But you're not shut. You haven't shut.
No, we're not shut.
So yes,
we were for like 12 days, 14 days. And then I'm like, I don't give up. I'm not someone who gives up.
So during that 12 days, are you sitting there with the team going, can I maintain what I'm doing, or do I need to pivot?
So initially we were, I mean, like, the hardest part about this, and I'm sure Kelvin will say the same, is that making decisions was very hard because like I would sit with my team and we'd spend 7 hours in a meeting and we're like, okay, that's our plan. We wake up tomorrow, those decisions are already outdated. Yeah. And that was a very, very big challenge that we've had, is like decisions are getting outdated within a few hours of making that decision because things are developing in this direction or in that direction, and we're just following the wave, And I think that for me, what I ended up realizing at the end is ultimately not to try to predict where the wave is going, just to ride the wave. Yeah. Because if you're gonna try to swim against the wave, you're gonna sink, 100%. So I just decided to just ride the wave. And we decided to do burgers, and honestly, like, someone was talking to me the other day, they were like, we came to Moonrise before you guys got a Michelin star, before all the awards, whatever. And I actually told them that the proudest thing I've ever done in my career was not all of the awards combined doesn't come as close as the pride of turning Moonrise into a burger place and saving all of my employees' jobs and saving my restaurant and just not being a quitter, Right, because if you look at it, zoom in, it's like, wow, it's so bad, it's so serious. But when you look at it from a zoom out perspective, it's just life. There's ups and there's downs, and you can't just give up every time something bad happens. And that's just how I approached it. So maybe we go back to a tasting menu May 1. I don't know. We're taking it literally 1 or 2 weeks at a time, but even more zoomed in, 1 day at a time, one service at a time.
Let's talk about Moonrise and Friends, because you haven't really delved into that yet. Yeah. And your first collaboration with Carnage Store, they're family friends of mine, so I'm really biased. So I especially love you for partnering up with them.
I love Dan and Fix.
So tell me a little bit about that and the feeling behind all that, the community that has been driving that as well.
I don't know. I feel like in times like this, like what clicked in my head was, like, you need to create something with people and for people, and I feel like that it just made sense to me that we have to do these things in a collaborative way. Otherwise, it just feels like a bit, it might even come across as a bit selfish, And we just wanted to make sure that we're doing something with our friends in a way that they benefit, and for our guests in a way that makes sense for them right now, because they're not going to spend 1,100 plus like before. So that was just the idea of doing this collaboration, is doing things with people and for people, if that makes any sense. And I actually got this idea, I think it was the 8th of March, and I went to Dan's, you know Dan, right? I went to Dan's house at 1 a.m. I'm like, yo, I have an idea. It's like my kids
Was he awake?
I love this guy, he's always awake for me. And I went to his house, and at 11, and we talked at 2 a.m. and we ended up discussing this, and he was like, this is a great idea, and I'm so happy we did this. They're so happy we did this. Our guests are so happy we did this. And it's now opening the opportunity for whatever we do next to be even more collaborative with more restaurants or more suppliers or more people, just people in the community, which creates a bigger win-win situation for everyone. So I think that whatever we do next, it's not only going to involve Carnage Store, it'll involve more people.
No, well done. I can feel that energy, just excited to tackle the next thing. And that's sort of challenges like this sort of bring that out in us sometimes.
Speaking of challenges, you mentioned that you're just, riding the wave as it comes. Yeah. I'm sure it's a very scary time for business owners because you're forced to evolve in real time, to shift, adapt, pivot. Now, speaking of this pivot, you briefly touched upon your menu because you went from a highly curated, exquisite menu to a 3-course burger experience.
Yeah.
I'd like to know why from that to burgers.
For me, what I noticed was like 8 days. So basically, initially we closed the restaurant, and we were gonna have a vacation in April. And I called everyone in the team, like, we're just pulling that vacation to now. And while we figure it out, obviously everyone was on board with that. And every day I was just thinking, like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And then I realized that because I was just trying to understand what people are organically spending on in the city at that time. And I just realized that people just need escape. People just need a little bit of escape. So I told my team, we're gonna design a product that's gonna sell a little bit of escapism for our guests. And we're gonna serve comfort food, maximum flavor, which is anyways what we're known for. Anyways, Moonrise is like a fine dining comfort food restaurant. So we're gonna serve comfort food, maximum flavor as usual. We're gonna have like our mocktails and cocktails and whatever that we usually do on our rooftop in our beautiful setup. And we did a test dinner, and like that's exactly what I saw. I saw people like go like, oh, I have to leave this building and go back to the real world now. And I was like, wow, we literally offered people a little bit of an escape to the point that they just didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? And I think that focusing on selling escape a little bit is really what people want. It's also for me, like I'm talking to people and I'm just focusing on serving them and making them happy, and my team, like everyone is just having a moment to just focus on the restaurant, on themselves, and on just having a better state of mind.
Just on the back of that, and to both of you to a certain degree, because absolutely love what both of you are doing, and you're getting out there and you're shouting and you're doing, and that's what everything. Are diners doing enough at the moment? You've talked about your crew of Moonrise, you've talked about the local. I mean, could diners be doing more, A, in terms of voting with their feet, but B, are diners being more understanding or open-minded?
We've actually talked about this.
It's a little bit of both, right? Because, I mean, I think it goes both directions. We have to realize that people are just frustrated, some people are more stressed, some people have anxiety. I think the only key to that is that we just have to remind everyone just to be a little bit kinder, be a little bit more respectful, just show a little bit of warmth, because again, we're all in this together. We're all
people,
you know,
and we all need it.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere, you know, we're here. So just, you know, show some love for everybody.
Yeah, a bit of empathy.
And I also
enough
think
of the nasty reviews, people. What's going on?
And I think the other way around works as well. Like you also have people on the other side, because I literally messaged him the other day. I was like, is it just me or what's going on, you know? But he said something to me which is also, it's like on the other side, you're getting people that are way more empathetic, way more understanding, way more kind, way more patient, because they also realize the human side of it, and they were literally working 16 hours a day in a time like this, or not 16, but like 12 hours a day in a time like this, me 16, in a time like this, and they just start extending a little bit more patience. You know, the show The Bear, I initially I didn't like these shows, but now they're kind of showing people how much we work in this industry, and I feel like it's brought a little bit more kindness towards us, you know what I mean?
You know, like we both love doing these collaborations, we love cooking together because it's a good opportunity for us to do things. What would be next, for example, after the burgers?
I'm not saying. Because we're just.
Oh, come on, tell us. Tell us something.
You know what?
We'll do it together.
We'll do it together.
We're making an announcement, ladies and gentlemen.
The thing is, we have a few options, but we haven't decided yet. So I'm honestly, I'm still myself meditating on what we're gonna do next, because I don't fully know what we're gonna do next. Because like I said, I'm riding the wave, and I need to know where the wave is. At least is going for the next 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to predict it anymore, but I'm trying to ride it and I think we have a bunch of different options, and one of the options maybe we might do a street food kind of like tasting menu. I don't know, a Dubai street food tasting menu. I don't know. We don't know where we're going, but I know that we're just taking it day by day.
Chef, I think something that you and I have in common is that you grew up in Satwa.
Yeah, and I grew up in Dera actually.
Okay, Dera, okay.
Riga.
Okay, well, I grew up in Satwa, and your restaurant is in Satwa, so I have a lot of love for it, and I'm a bit embarrassed that I still haven't been, but now is a good time, as we discussed earlier. Speaking of collaboration and this community spirit, you have opened up your space for other chefs, brands, and creatives, and how has this changed your overall outlook towards Moonrise as a concept?
In what sense?
Have you opened up your space
sorry,
for
I always like to have I always ask for more elaborations on the question. Go ahead, sorry.
No, because we mentioned a little bit earlier on about your collaboration with Carney Store, and how are you seeing collaborations such as this moving forward to sort of coexist?
I don't know. Like I said, we're just working as much as possible on as much community-oriented projects as possible. But I also think that like Moonrise and Friends is a project that was created in this time, but it's a project that will live on past this time. We've always done community-oriented kind of projects. Like we do food tours. Like we do food tours in a van where we take people around Satwa and around Dera, and like we have different themes for those food tours. We have I don't know. I think that Moonrise and Friends is just going to grow into becoming Moonrise's community-oriented brand, and we're just going to use that to work more with community and work more with our suppliers and with our peers and with our friends and even with businesses that right now in this time I can't imagine that we would collaborate, and then it would make sense in that time.